Family, welcome to Sacred Spaces Advanced School of Ancestral Communication. This is Queen Carlenia, and I'm the founder of Project Home, as well as the author of Soul Marked for Life. So, today I want to talk to you a little bit about an Adinkra symbol. An Adinkra, Deen means name, and Kra is referring to the soul. The Adinkra symbols are a system of transmission of our culture, and they are symbols that we can see, but also they are ebes or proverbs, and these proverbs help to guide us through our life. And when we see the symbols, it serves to remind us about who we are. It serves to remind us about these principles. And when we speak the names of these Adinkra symbols, they also serve to realign our spirit and our soul, our divine consciousness. So this symbol is called Unyansapo. And that's what Unyansapo looks like. So Unyansa, Unyansa is defined as wisdom and Po as not. So we're talking about a wisdom. Give me a second here. A wisdom knot, and that's in the Shri language, or the language of the Akan people of West Africa. Unyansa means wisdom and Po means knot. This is a knot that is said to be so intricately tied that only the wise can untie this knot. And the reason is because it takes patience to be able to see the interlinkages. Think about a thread that is really knotted up, or a rope that's really knotted up. It takes patience to be able to untie that thread or untie that rope without tearing the entire structure apart. It takes patience to be able to see the interlinkages. But you and I, as Afro-Rakanu and Afro-Right-Kaitnut African Black people, no matter where we find ourselves in the world, and I just want to make it clear that I'm not saying that we all have come directly from the continent of Africa. There's those of us who are indigenous to this part of the world. We are indigenous to the planet, period. But no matter where we find ourselves on this planet, that's what our ancestors and ancestresses left written in stone on the walls of Kemet, that they called themselves Afro-Rakanu and Afro-Right-Kaitnut, male and female offspring of the creator and the creatress, descended through the divine land, that first land that rose above those most ancient primordial waters at the dawn of creation. So they call those waters, they call that land by its male name, Afu Raka, and by its female name, Afu Ra'et Kayet. And that's what we call Africa today. But that was when there was one landmass. And so we're talking about thousands and thousands of years ago. So when you hear me talk about Afu Rakanu and Afu Right Kaitnut, I am talking about the male and female offspring of the creator and the creatress. And I'm talking about those of us that are mothers and fathers of humanity, descendant through that first land that rose up out of those most ancient primordial waters at the dawn of creation. So when we're talking about these symbols, or these wisdom teachings, I want you to understand that we are ancient on this planet, and we walk with a knowledge and a wisdom that is deep inside of us, that we carry in our blood, that operates in real time. It's a wisdom that is so ancient that when we walk within our right minds, there are things that we do, ways that we move automatically, that syncs up with nature, with the people around us. This is who we are, but that has the knowledge of how to walk in that way consciously has not been afforded to us. Our history, our story, not history, our story, they have tried to erase it, but we still carry it deep within our bones. And so there are certain situations that you have been through and things that you have faced, and you may just attribute it to God. It is all attributable to God. But when it comes to understanding our culture and how we operate, as you begin to come into knowledge of how we operate and who we are connected to with regards to the forces in nature, then you begin to understand that there is a connection far beyond what we see. There's a knowledge that we carry far beyond what we see. And this knowledge that we carry operates in real time. And oftentimes, what we are seeing, the limitations of what we're seeing with regards to our circumstances, it gets in the way of this divine wisdom that operates in real time, and it causes us to run into walls because we're limited by what we see. We make decisions based on what we see and not decisions based on the wisdom that we are receiving. Okay, and so with regards to unyansapo, unyansa meaning wisdom and po meaning not, we're talking about the situations that we face in life. There's situations with regards to our relationships with ourselves, with each other, depending on what we have been through, with our environment, with regards to work, with regards to elevation and moving towards the vision that Mother and Father God has put within our hearts. There are situations that we really do not know how to navigate. And yet, when we begin to incorporate this process, doors begin to open. So I'm going to share and read to you this lesson, this divine teaching. So it says this ebe, and ebe is the Akan word or the Shri word for proverb. This ebe or proverb, this divine wisdom teaching points to the fact that only wisdom affords one to see the parts in relationship to the whole in which they belong. Wisdom breeds patience and the insight that comes along with allowing things and events to occur and unfold according to their own time and according to their own nature, right? There's sometimes we just want things to have happened yesterday, but there's a timing for everything. Everything that occurs in nature has a natural cycle, and when we bypass the natural cycle, then, well, there's a price to pay for that. The patient, wise individual can perceive the interlinkages and thus untie the complex knot without destroying its material substance in the process. The patient, wise individual can exercise the proper insight in order to untangle complex issues and arrive at just solutions within the context of ancestral protocol without profaning ancestral culture in the process. Such just solutions are arrived at through the agency of a timeless decision making process whose grounding is divine order. So, as Afro Rakanu and Afro Kaitnu, we are unique, and the manner in which we relate to the events in the world is also unique to us as the mothers and fathers of humanity. So, we have to recognize that to be aware of who we are, this is the first step. To be aware of who we are is critical when making any decision. We can't approach life in imitation of other people or entities. Our awareness of our identity allows us to focus on how any situation relates to us specifically as people or individuals, as Afro-Rakani and Afro-Kaitnit people. This awareness and focus necessarily calls our attention to our function, our purpose. Only then are we empowered to recognize what is right and in harmony with divine order and make a final decision rooted in that recognition. So, wisdom shows us that arriving at a decision and acting on that decision must be supported by knowledge, get it, of what is necessary physically as well as spiritually in order to be successful in our execution. I'm going to say that again. So, wisdom shows us that arriving at a decision and acting on that decision must be supported by a knowledge of what is required physically as well as spiritually in order for us to be successful in our execution. Preparedness to execute is just as important as the execution itself. Wisdom also shows us that the mere execution of an act that is rooted in a sound decision is often challenged in some manner. So, the soundness of the decision making process qualifies the decision and the subsequent action as valid. Sometimes we make decisions and we're good with it, but then when people come and they begin to question us or deride us, um, you know, who do you think you are? Why are you doing that? It begins to eat away at our self confidence and we begin to doubt ourselves. But when you go through this process of unyansapo, this decision making process, you are literally going through a process where you have taken into consideration the mental and emotional and the spiritual challenges that you will face. And because you have made this decision um, rooted in divine order and based on your function or your purpose, again, that qualifies your decision as valid. Now you're strong enough to withstand any type of opposition that comes your way. You're able to put the blinders on and stay the course no matter who says what. You don't care. It's like Teflon. Whatever they say or whatever they do, it bounces off of you. And there are times we may have to shift and change course to navigate. But when you understand who you are and why you are moving in the vein that you're moving, then people can't shake you with mere words or making fun of you or trying to put you down as a result of that decision. So, the soundness of the decision making process qualifies the decision and subsequent action as valid. We must therefore keep focus on the validity of the decision and the actions carried out in support of the decision in order that we may defeat all challenges: psychological, spiritual, physical, external, cultural, and ideological. We are thereby immune to any desire to abort the process, remaining dedicated to its conclusion. Finally, wisdom rewards us with the opportunity to take ownership of the decision, our behavior, and the result. We are able to reflect on the benefit of seeing the process through and convey the benefits of fully